Good evening. Good evening. And how are you this evening? I hope that you are really well. It has been incredibly hot here in Dalbeattie today. I have done the most exciting thing today. I've picked up my best friend from Dumfries who got the bus. And he's staying with me for a few days, which is absolutely amazing. Don't you just love people? People are what makes the world go round. So I'm feeling fairly happy tonight, and the hair's ended up in a ponytail because it's so hot, and I'm going out on a dog walk after this live. So I'm prepared. I am very prepared. So welcome to this. I am really, for someone who is so good at doing lives, and I've done them so regularly and so often over the last few years, and I said this morning in my group, I'm feeling surprisingly nervous about this series of lives that I'll be doing over the next 3 weeks. And it's really weird because I've shared my story so often through social media that I'm questioning why on earth I should have any doubts or be nervous at all about talking to you about it tonight. No idea why, but I suppose nerves are good in any situation, and I want to get it right so that it can inspire you, make you think, teach you some of the lessons that I learned. So the plan is to enjoy myself, and hopefully you will be able to listen and enjoy yourself whilst I'm sharing with you a pretty darn big story. And even though I've told it before, it's funny, isn't it, how stories, you get more familiar with them as you live with them, as they become part of who you are. So doing this series of 6 lives over the next 3 weeks is going to be a new perspective on what I already know, because I'm in a different place now, again, from the first time that I shared this a couple of years ago. So anyway, for those of you that don't know me, hi, I'm Mandy Nicholson, and I am the Creative Genius Consultant. I'm an artist, I'm an author, and I help creative women to launch, grow, and scale their businesses and make more money. That's not always what I've done. And tonight I'm going to be sharing with you my journey from abundance to rock bottom and back again. Not all of it, because you need to watch all 6 lives to get all of the lessons and to get all of the info, because it really is just too big a story to be able to share with you in one live stream. We would be here all night, you would be bored and dying to get onto Netflix instead of watching me. So I decided to split it up over the next 3 weeks into bite-sized chunks. And why? Because I have my next 5-day challenge. It might be a bit noisy tonight. I've got the window open because it's really hot here, and I nearly died in here on a group call last night of overheating. So I've got the window open. It might be a bit noisy with the boy racers going past the front of the house. Sorry about that. Anyway, that's life. It happens. The dogs are barking on this morning's live, so you never know what's going to happen. So what was I saying? I shouldn't digress because I'll lose my train of thought there. So over the next 3 weeks, I'm going to be sharing 6 lives. Why? Because I am in the run-up to my next 5-day challenge. My 5-day challenge starts on the 11th of July. And if you haven't already done my 5-day challenge and you are a creative woman, you need to click the link in here. Hi, Kirsty. You need to click the link and you need to join my next 5-day challenge. This is big. And there's a reason that I'm sharing my story over the next 3 weeks, because I want to get some belief back out there in the creative community that you have the capability and the ability to do anything you put your mind to right now. And I'm going to do that by sharing just how far down I fell, where I went from and to, and how I rebuilt my life. Now, this morning in Creative Genius Corner, I shared the backstory, the bit I'm not going to share with you, what I did, what made me, what shaped me in my life. So if you want to know, if you're nosy and you want to know the backstory, go and join Creative Genius Corner if you're not already a member. If you already are, watch it. If you're not, go and join. The link is in the comments. You can join Creative Genius Corner and you can catch that 25-minute live this morning, which gives you the backstory. which helps you make sense, I suppose, of where I'm starting from tonight. Because tonight I'm starting from the year 2009. Okay. Now, for those of you that don't remember 2009, and who would, it's a long time ago, it's 12 years ago. It was the year where there was a financial crash. It was a difficult year for a lot of businesses and for a lot of people. A year of massive change, a year of universal energy where big shifts were happening to people. And I don't think anybody really noticed or acknowledged how big a year that was. When I look back on it now with all that's happened to me, I can see that and I can understand that. But when you're in the moment and when you're in that time period, you're just in survival mode. So at the start of 2009, I was on a 6-figure salary, working in retail with a company car and a great bonus package and lots of other dental and health and all sorts of different things. Really, really well established, long-term, 20+ year career in retail. Very successful, headhunted, sought after. So that was the beginning of 2009. I was living in a beautiful little chocolate box cottage house, farmhouse, actually, not even a cottage, a farmhouse in the Northumbrian countryside near Felton in Northumberland, which is beautiful and remote. And we hadn't bought it, we were renting it. It was a beautiful remote farmhouse. And it was only available to rent. And that's where we wanted to live for the kids, because they could play out, and we were next to fields of cows and there was a lovely long walk around it. It was where we wanted to live. So I was married to, I'm not even going to mention his name because it's not worthy of mentioning, but I was married, had my 2 children, Becca and Dan. I had my 2 dogs. So it was almost like the perfect nuclear family, with me as the main breadwinner and my husband at the time, who was the stay-at-home dad. And everything from the outside looked perfect. You know, we had everything we wanted: 2 cars, nice house, nice things. Never had to worry about money. But things weren't right. Because sometimes when we're in that situation where everything looks great from the outside, how you feel on the inside is misaligned. And that's how I was feeling. I was feeling misaligned with the life that I had. I've been married for 13 years, and it was my 3rd marriage. I'm not very good at marriage. I've said this before, I'll say it again. It was my 3rd marriage, and I'd married him because he was different to the other 2 men that I'd been married to, and I thought I was making a better choice this time, and we had children together, and I thought everything would be great. And it just wasn't aligned. You know, when you gut, when you know things are not right, but you live the life anyway, and you continue to live the life that you're in because you made your bed and you're gonna lie in it. So that's where I was, but I knew I wasn't happy. I'd been headhunted by a major brand. I was working for IKEA at the time as a store manager, and I'd been headhunted by them, and I loved working for them. But something wasn't aligned there. There was something. I was not acknowledging these things. They were definitely there. And sometimes you know that things aren't right. And this is one of the lessons I want to talk to you about, because tonight is about setting the scene with you. Sometimes you know that things aren't right and that you were meant for more. Whatever that more is, only you can fill in the gaps in that vision of what you are meant for more of. But I knew that the life I was living was not the life that I truly wanted or deserved. I knew that I was meant for more. So although I had this really successful career and I had this chocolate box cottage and this perfect nuclear family, it wasn't the kids that were wrong, it wasn't the dogs that were wrong, but there was things that were wrong. Now, in addition to the 6-figure salary and the great job and the lovely home and everything else, I had also invested in a business on the side with my sister. She had always wanted a pub, and one came up in Alnwick in Northumberland where we lived, and I had invested in helping her to get that pub. And in doing so, I had to become a silent partner and allow her to run the pub. So I was a silent partner in a business, Married for 13 years, 2 kids, 2 dogs, in this high-flying career, well respected. And everything in that life, apart from my kids and dogs, felt out of line with whatever. But at that point in time, I hadn't really delved deep into self-development. So I knew something was right. Your gut is always right. I'm going to say this to you now. Your gut is always right. What happens is we don't trust it. Your gut is your GPS system. It is telling you that you are going in the wrong direction. When you get that gut feeling, your gut is telling you, your GPS system is telling you that you're going in the wrong direction. And what we do is we mistrust the GPS. Have you ever been driving your car and your GPS has said, take the next left, and you think you know better, so you don't take the next left, and then you end up lost? I've done that loads of time because I'm a clever dick and I think I know better than the GPS system. And that's what I was doing. My gut was telling me that things weren't right, and I was ignoring it, living the life that I was not destined for, and not listening and not in tune. But 2009 was also the year that I discovered The Secret. Now, if you haven't read The Secret or watched the film The Secret, where have you been? I thought everybody on the planet had actually done that. But The Secret, I discovered it in that year. I also joined Facebook in 2009 and created my Gmail account. It was quite a pivotal year for me in terms of starting to discover new things like Facebook, like online platforms, and like The Secret. And it blew my mind. And it was reading The Secret and then watching the movie that actually started me thinking that things were a bit misaligned. So as soon as you start to question your situation, the universe listens. So if you are not making money and you are worried about money and you are thinking about debt and that you are thinking about poverty and how you can't pay the bills next month, guess what you're going to get more of? You are creating the energy of more of the same. If you are following your big dreams and your big vision, blah, 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 you're going to get more of the same. If you are living a life that you think that you are not destined or aligned with, guess what? Nothing's going to change and you're going to get more of the same until you start to realize there's more. And it was The Secret that made me realize I was made for more. I was definitely made for more. And it's what's really funny is that I'd been watching it the night before the pivotal moment happened. So it was March 2009, and I was driving to work at IKEA at 6 o'clock in the morning, 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock, I can't remember. It was really early, and there was nothing on the road but me. Passed a couple of wagons on the A1 going down to Newcastle, but there was nothing on the road but me. And all I was thinking was about The Secret, this manifesting what you want in your life and manifesting the things that you desire and how to create it. And as I was driving down the A1, which was completely empty, out of nowhere jumped a massive deer into the middle of the road right in front of me. And in that split second, I had to make a decision. Was I going to drive directly into that deer and kill it? Or was I going to swerve my car? And my gut reaction, that fight or flight, that reaction that you have when something happened, I literally turned the steering wheel hard left and went and crashed into the embankment and knocked myself unconscious and did a lot of damage to myself. And the deer was fine. And that was the moment that changed my life. There's not many of us that can pinpoint the exact moment that changes our life. That was my moment that changed my life. Because what that did, that was the first moment in a series of really unfortunate events that followed that changed everything for me. Absolutely everything. So what I wanted to, the reason I've told you in so much detail about that is because I knew I wasn't aligned. I knew I was meant for more. I knew that things weren't right in a few areas of my life. And what did the universe do? It didn't try and kill me. It caused an event that then caused, it was like a house of cards. So what happened after this was a series of events that unfolded over the course of 12 months. And everything in those series of events changed everything. So tonight I'm going to get you to where I ended up in that series of unfortunate events by telling you what they were, how they happened, and what I was facing at the time. So I was injured in the car crash. I was taken to hospital. I was quite badly injured. I was unconscious for I don't know how long. And I was going to take a few months to repair. In a year, 2009, like I told you at the start, where there was a financial crash, there was difficulties in many businesses, including big businesses. So I was off work for a couple of months. I decided that I would use that time, having watched The Secret, I decided I would use that time to educate myself and started doing some online courses, coaching courses, so that when I went back to work, I could be even better as a manager than I was before. It didn't even occur to me at that point in time to go back to my core, who I was, reverting to type and become who I was and go back to creativity, because I have a degree in art and design. It's what I always wanted to do. And I ended up in retail by default, but made the best of it, was really good at it. So it didn't occur to me at that point to tap into my creativity. And what I did was more of the same. So I was still doing more of the same. Even though I knew things weren't aligned, I still was doing more of the same, because this is what we do as human beings. We're on this hamster wheel and we continue to do more of the same things that keeps us in that hamster wheel. So all I could think of was, I need to get better and I need to get back to work. And while I'm off, I might as well do something that makes me better when I get back to work, blah, blah, blah. Signed up for 3 coaching courses. So I was doing it, and I could do them really because I was doing nothing else and I was recovering and I had nothing else to do and no responsibilities. I could study all day, every day. So I could do them much quicker than the time scale. So a 9-month course I could do in 3 weeks because I was studying like 12 hours a day. So that's what I did. That's what I was doing, more of the same. So the universe was, somebody was watching me and going, she's still not got it yet. She's still not acknowledged that she's misaligned. And she's getting ready to go back to one of the places that she's misaligned with. So maybe we need to give her another message. And this is what looking back on it now and having told this story so many times, it's almost like I was completely obtuse to what was happening to me. The messages were clear and strong and coming thick and fast. And I was still sticking with what I knew because that was my comfort zone. It's what I knew. It's the life I'd created. It's the life I was in, that I was living, and I couldn't think outside of it. It's like, when people stay in abusive relationships, they can't think outside. It's what they know. It's familiar, and we stay with the familiar. And it was very early days for me in the self-development world and understanding The Secret. But I was fascinated and I wanted to do it, but I still reverted to type. So what happened next was we started to it was like firing bullets from a machine gun the next few months. So I was off work, and whilst off work, I had some suspicions about my husband and what he was doing. He was going to metal detecting club, and I really didn't think he was. So I started to get a bit suspicious. My sister was really struggling at the pub, and I could tell there was something wrong, but she wasn't really telling me because she was hiding things. She was in the same place that I was, in a life that she created, doing something that she thought she wanted that perhaps she didn't, that wasn't aligned. And she'd got herself in a real mess, and I didn't know this at the time. My son was struggling at school, not because there was anything wrong with him that I thought, but there was. And my dad had visited me while I was ill. He'd visited me in the February of that year, and he had visited me again because I was poorly. There was lots of things unfolding. So by the end of 2009, not only had I been injured, I'd been called into work and paid off. My husband was having an affair and my marriage ended. My sister had got to the pub in so much debt. I'm talking near on £100,000 worth of debt that I had to apply for bankruptcy because I was 100% liable for all of that debt. My son was diagnosed with autism. My dad was diagnosed with cancer and died 47 days later. I was still recovering. So I'd lost my job, lost my business on the side, lost my marriage. My son was autistic. It turns out he was diagnosed with autism. My dad had died. So I was on my own at the end of 2009, unemployed, with a payoff from IKEA, but still unemployed, on my own with 2 kids and 2 dogs, and still not having my health back to where it should be. And on Christmas Eve of 2009, my landlord came round, knocked on my door, gave me a beautiful Christmas hamper and made me homeless. Gave me a section 52 or whatever it is and told me I had 30 days to move out because he wanted the house for a Christian community. Not very Christian, I thought at the time. So I had ended up in 1 year, going from having everything, the perfect outward looking, the perfect nuclear family from the outside world, but knowing I was misaligned. And it's almost like the universe said to me, you are not taking note here, Mandy, of what is not right. You are made for more. You are definitely made for more and you deserve more. So I'm going to take everything away from you and strip it back to nothing so that you realize that you already have everything that you need. So by February of 2010, I was living in a council house in Amble in Northumberland with nothing but £30 in my bank account, a £700 Suzuki Swift car, because that's all I was allowed, a car up to the value of £1,000. The bankruptcy had taken all of my payout from IKEA, all of my savings, all of my investments, apart from one thing, which was my pension. They couldn't touch that. I had nothing, literally nothing but a few pieces of furniture, and my kids and my dogs. And that for me was my rock bottom. I'd never lived in a council house before. I'd never thought that I would end up in that situation with nothing. And it can be debilitating because you're in shock. For me, having all that happen in a short space of time, you're also in shock and trying to deal with what's just happened to you. The loss of my father, my sister letting me down so badly, and being one of the main causes of me being at rock. My husband having an affair and getting me in debt. He had debt as well. There was so much. Honestly, it's such a big story. In fact, I must mention this now. If you want to read about it in detail, this is the book I wrote 10 years later. It took me 10 years to write this book, which is that story, what happened to me in 2009 in detail, with all of the events, because all I've done is summarized them for you. You can't even imagine some of the stuff that went on. So it's in a book. It's called The Life I Won. My pen name is AJ King. You can find it on Amazon and Austin Macaulay, who are my publishers. It's available on hardback, paperback, and Kindle, and it soon will be available on audiobook. I've just picked my narrator. But that's in the future. I'm not going to talk about, I was mentioning it because I've just talked about the story. That's the story that's in there. That me going from abundance to rock bottom that's book 1. There's another 2 books to come. And that's the summary of the 2 books that are to come is what I'm going to be covering in these lives over the next 3 weeks. So there I was at rock bottom. And the first thing I realized at rock bottom was that I was just lucky to have my kids and my dogs and to have a home, a council house to live in, to not be on the streets. So actually I was luckier than some people. And it was in realizing that I was able to accept my situation and move myself forward. So I really dived deep into the secret then and started to think, okay, I don't want to stay here. I'm meant for more. How am I going to do that? So that's what episode 2 will cover. I am going to cover in episode 2 on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. the first steps that I started to take from that place of rock bottom, having just lost everything, having been delivered a really severe message from the universe saying, Mandy, you know what? listen, trust your gut. You are meant for more. But in order for you to realize you're meant for more, I need to take it all away from you. And that's a huge message. I hope none of you ever get a message like that from the universe. But it was my own fault. I had not been listening and not been feeling the signs and accepting them and acknowledging them. And that's the lesson I want to share with you. When you feel your gut telling you things aren't right, I want you to be able to trust it, to look and to listen at what's going on around you and to question everything. What is it that's not right? What is it that's making me feel the way that I feel right now? That's making me uncomfortable, that's making me sad, that's making me feel unwell, at dis-ease. There's a reason disease is called that. You're not at ease with the situation, with the life, whatever it is that's not right in your life. And this is why I wanted to take you on this journey over the next 3 weeks up to my 5-day challenge, because I genuinely believe that when you acknowledge and then when you accept, which is what I'll be talking about on Thursday, how I was able to accept that. And when you decide that you want the life that you deserve, that's when everything changes. The power, it's law. It's the law of the universe that you will manifest exactly what's going on inside you. And it's really hard to just switch things off. It's not an easy job. So I'm going to talk you through on Thursday and in the following episodes exactly how I did that, the lessons that I learned, and the people along the way that were part of that journey. So I'll talk about that a bit more on Thursday as well, because, there were people that in that year of 2009 did things that weren't very nice. But the big lesson I learned in that year was I let them. I gave them permission to behave in the way that they behaved because I did not challenge it, even though my gut was screaming at me that things weren't right. So that's the thought I'm going to leave you with tonight. That's how bad it can get when we are complacent and when we don't listen. So I hope that you enjoy this series. Please let me know where you're watching from, whether you're watching live or on replay. And if you've got any comments, please put them in there. The links are all in there. If you want the backstory before this, Creative Genius Corner, subscribe to my YouTube channel if you want to not miss any of the episodes. And the 5-day challenge link is also in the comments. Get yourself in the 5-day challenge. This is going to be a massive 5-day challenge, a big 5-day challenge that's going to deliver change for some amazing creative ladies out there in their lives if they are currently not aligned with what they are doing right now. And I want you to go on this journey with me and learn that. So I will see you on Thursday morning at 10 a.m. And if you can't join me live, watch it on replay or watch it on YouTube, because I've got some really juicy stuff to share with you on Thursday. Thank you for watching tonight. I will see you Thursday morning, 10 a.m.